Hello, everyone. Welcome again to this series of inspirational chats that we're having with inspiring people. And today, let me thank Annette Franz. She's with us. She is an international, very well known speaker. She is also the founder of the company CX Journey. She's also the author of the book Customer Understanding. So she is absolutely a CX star, and I can't be any more delighted to have her with us today. So thank you very much, Annette, for being with us today. What we'd like to talk about, having the chance, is about a few things, because there's so many that you could tell us, but basically being part of the profession, I'm sure that you can tell us, how this profession is going to grow, what's happening or what's going to happen in the future now that we know the virus is not going to be with us for just a few months. It's going to be a lot longer than that. And also maybe differences between what's going on in the States and what's, the difference with what's happening in Europe. So again, thank you for being with us, Annette. It's a real pleasure. And all yours. You can just, start talking and tell us all those interesting things.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And it sounds like we're going to solve all of the world's problems here in the next 10 minutes.
We are.
Well, you know me, as I love to talk about customer experience. So thanks for having me. And I want to just maybe start with the profession. For those of you who know, I'm the board chair for the CXPA, the Customer Experience Professional Association, which is the global association representing customer experience professionals. And one of the things that we're seeing this year is really interesting because early on, when the pandemic first hit, all of a sudden people just scattering, right? It was, they were losing their jobs, either they were being laid off or they were being furloughed, or they be repurposed to other things, more important things, fulfillment and just talking to, answering calls from customers, those kinds of things. But what ended up coming out was this really interesting finding and really interesting result, and something that we hope from here on, that is all of a sudden the CX team became the rock stars in the organization. Executives wanted insights. What are customers saying, doing? What are they buying? Why are they buying? What do they want? How to help them, And so suddenly all of the data that the CX teams have was the golden ticket within the organization, and everybody wanted to know what's the customer, why are they doing that, and what do they need. So customer insights suddenly became the most important thing. And now people that I knew who lost their jobs very early on are being hired very quickly and found other opportunities very quickly because of this. And so I think that's been a really exciting outcome. Again, I'm hoping that stays with us going forward, right?
Hope so.
Hope so.
It's great news. It's great news.
Right? And I would be really shocked if it didn't. I think that people make those data-driven decisions, those customer-driven decisions, and see what the outcomes are for both the customers and for the business. I think it's going to drive brands to keep doing this going forward. I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. Yes. Yeah. And then, as it's interesting because as the board of the CXPA is just on the heels of our annual retreat. So in 2 weeks, we're having our annual planning session for 2021. And we're spending a lot of time looking at, well, how has the pandemic affected not just the profession, but the work that they're doing and how they need to design the experience differently going forward. And so a lot of our time in that board retreat is going to be planning for how do we support our members and how do we support the CX profession into 2021 and beyond as a result of everything that's happened this year. So it's an interesting time. It's a challenging time. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit of, we've got to put our, predictive hats on and, figure out, oh, please don't let 2021 be.
Oh gosh, no.
Please don't let it be anything like 2020. And hopefully it's better and we're back to some kind of a normalcy that we enjoy. But yeah, so that's where things are happening in the profession. Again, just really exciting. The other thing that we're seeing too with with brands, and it is related to CX and the CX professional too, is around the employee experience. And what we're hearing from customers is that they don't want to buy from brands that aren't focusing on employee safety, employee health, and making sure that employees are taken care of during this time too. So that's a really interesting finding this year too, is that the experience has been elevated. And, for me, I've been talking about the employee experience. I started my career back in the early 90s at JD Power and Associates. And back then I was already talking to my clients about, hey, not only do you want to listen to your customers, but you want to listen to your employees too. And it was always, we'll talk to employees later, and here we are later.
Here we are talking about it, Yeah.
And we're probably talking about it. Yeah.
Such a key issue, to be honest.
Yeah. So imagine that. So now customers are saying, well, we're not going to buy from brands that aren't taking care of their people, which is awesome. That's a real shift in focus that we've seen this year too. So, so that's
Fantastic.
really, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so some cases that you can think of, like interesting stuff that is happening in the States because of this situation, because I'm sure the innovation is being a key part of this new moment, this era we're living in.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it was McKinsey who said, and I've experienced this now already, that brands advance their digital transformations 5 years in a matter of 8 weeks, right?
You see, people can do it. I mean, when they can, they do it,
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest learnings during this has been change is possible. We can do it, right? And there have been so many companies who just, this digital transformation, they've just been, dragging their feet and, we don't need to do that. We, this and that. But this year has really forced their hand and really made brands make that a priority. And they've done it. Not just for their customers, but for employees as well, right? Employees working and moving entire workforces home within a matter of 48 hours and making sure that they've got the right tools and technology to continue doing what they're doing without interruption, it's been pretty amazing. It really has been amazing. So yes, so the point is change can happen.
Yeah.
Don't resist it. It can happen.
You can't lie anymore.
No, not at all. Not at all. So that's a big thing that's happened here. And I don't know if that's happened in Europe as well, but I imagine, because there are a lot of, global companies here that is obviously,
it has. I don't know if in the same way, but also there's been a big change here. Like everybody went home to work the beginning of March. And like you say, within days, everybody had to be up and ready. And it wasn't easy because some people didn't have sometimes computers, laptops to take home, and not to talk about the specific chair or specific place, with the kids around the house, running, around you when you were having a video call. So it hasn't been easy at all. But yeah, people managed, and especially employees, employees actually showed how committed they are, how important the job is for them, what they do. And that is also, I think, something relevant to stand out, in this situation.
Absolutely. The appreciation for employees and for what they are doing has definitely increased. Productivity has increased. I've seen some really interesting statistics about, I know initially it was hard hit. To your point, people are moving from working in an office to working from home, where they've got kids and they're, teaching kids at the same time, and and the distraction of working from home and never having done that before. It is a bit of a shock to the system. But once they got settled in, productivity skyrocketed. And I've been working from home for the last 20 years, and the hard part is for that balance to happen between work and life, right? But they figured it out, and productivity has skyrocketed. I used to say, I get more done 6 hours at home than 10 hours in the office, right? You
Absolutely.
just get things done. So I think that's been a real
Yep. Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And I just hope that this message really gets to people, and we are bringing some hope. The things are still working, the companies are running, the companies are still looking to the future and looking at the customers, really wanting to look after them, and that is always good news. And also the fact that some companies have decided that is the moment. They have sped up all the the projects that they had in the drawers, and that is something that we definitely have to bring up on the table. So I really, really appreciate your time, Annette. Like I said before, for me, it's a real pleasure to talk to you, and I hope the your idea of the future of the CXPA and you personally actually takes place. And
Yes.
in a year, we should set a meeting for now, a
Yes.
year time, and see what the situation is like, after a year. So it'd be great counting on you again. So
Absolutely.
thank
I'd
you
love
again.
to do
Oh, that'd be lovely then. I take your word for it.
that.
I'm sending you the invitation right now for a year.
Okay,
right now.
let's do it.
Absolutely. Okay, well, thank you
All right,
very
thank
much. Sorry, you were going to say.
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciated it and enjoyed our conversation.
Well, same here. Thank you very much. We'll be in touch, and bye for now. Real pleasure. Bye now.